Oh, no, Jelly, you tell me. Why did you wait?
I don't know. I saw Steve wave and I said, oh, right, hello. All right.
Oh, this is
There you
great
go.
already.
There you go. I'll wave back. See, that's down.
I wasn't using my hand.
Oh. I got
Yeah.
the cameras
All right.
on.
Yeah. It's not that sort of podcast. Rated bits and pieces.
Oh, bitch.
Oh,
Oh.
we just joined. Sorry about. Right, there we go. It's a bit of a unprofessional. No, it wasn't. It was. We're never professional, are we? Yeah, we are.
No.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Bits and Pieces podcast. This is episode 13, and we are joined today by a special guest. Our first guest. We got Werejellyogre, and obviously my two co-hosts, the Freddy Show and Pizza Beth. Hey guys, how you all doing? How's it
Good,
going?
how are you?
Jelly,
great.
welcome in to the madhouse that is.
Yes. Hello there.
I should point out, Jelly has been one of a follower of for my channel and all of our channels for some time. And if anyone thinks, well, why do I know that name so much? It's probably because I keep shouting out, Jelly, damn it, you've got me again, because he keeps jump scaring me with some of my sound emotes and stuff. So yeah, he's responsible, and this is payback time now. I think we're going to.
I'm
So
less
now
of
we have a voice to the name.
I'm less of a guest at the moment and more of a hostage.
Shh. No, not.
It's non-negotiable. Right.
Stop talking.
So yeah, as always, we will be doing our spotlights, and this week I'm going to be spotlighting Alien Isolation, the game that I've yet to do, and I thought it was about time we did it. And I think Beth's got Beth and Freddie might have some spotlights too. And then later, a little bit after that, we'll jump on some bit of news, and then we're just gonna ask questions to Jenny.
Yep.
A little bit later on. But first, let's start off then with our spotlights. And Beth, you wanted to go first this week.
Yes, please. So, hello everyone. Sure. Okay, so today I'm talking about Archvale. So after when we first looked at Nobody Saves the World, I was really interested in that kind of style of game, and I know that, Nobody Saves the World, there's some opinions on that, so won't get into that, but I was curious about that kind of play style and that kind of game, and I was scrolling through the Game Pass and I found Archvale, and it looked very similar to Nobody Saves the World, and I thought, I'm curious, I'm interested, so I decided to download it and give it a go, and it kind of consumed my life, and I ended up playing it like for 2 weeks or so, and yeah, so let's get into it. So it's currently $11.99. It's available on Switch, Xbox One, and the PC, and it's also obviously on Game Pass. So I played this for the last 2 weeks, and it took me about 8 hours to complete, I think. And basically this game is a bullet hell RPG fantasy adventure game. And basically, in this game, you play as a hero. You don't have a name. I don't know why you don't have a name, but you play as a hero who has to restore a magical arch that brings life back to the kingdom and the area. And to collect the different stones for the arch, you go through different zones around the world. There's so many different types of worlds. There's like 1, 2, 3. There's like 7, maybe 8 different areas that you can like explore. And basically, in each zone, you go through the zones. You can collect fountains, which are like the save points that you can get. And when you get these fountains, you can actually teleport like anywhere around the map. So there's a bit of free roam in there. But each zone has dungeons. It has little challenges that you can do. Every time you go through a zone, there's different kind of enemies and bosses. Different protect, because you know bullet hells when they like shoot you and you have to dodge the bullets and stuff. There's loads of different enemies that shoot different kind of lasers and bullets and stuff like that. The gameplay is very engaging. I had so much fun with it. Even though I have never played a bullet hell game before, I'm very glad that Archvale was the first game I got to play in that genre. Also, in each zone, you collect different materials, so like silver, gold, stuff like that. And that allows you to craft weapons and armor. And each armor has, like different stats on it. So you can get more damage, you can get more magic damage, stuff like that. Overall, the game has a total of 3 different classes, like magic, melee, and what's the other one? Magic, melee, and I think like you get like throwing knives and stuff. I don't know if you would say that's melee, but you get different, they're the main ones. You can get stuff to throw, you can get swords, knives, and you can get magic weapons. There's also badges that you can collect around the map. These badges allow you to get different kinds of like boosts and stuff. So for example, one is to boost your magic damage, some are to boost your gold find, and so on. And I can't remember how many there are in the game, but there are quite a few that you can collect, and you can collect it through different zones. You can buy them straight from the store and stuff like that. You can also, throughout the game, you can find and sell treasure, which it's pretty cool. You can also, there's in each zone there's something called mega plums that you can collect, and so for example, it goes up every time. So once you get like the first, you get 1 mega plum, you give it to the guy who cooks up, the healing potion. Once you get that healing potion, you can go and collect like three more, or 2 more, and it just goes up and up, and they help you to, get more healing potions because you need them. Yeah, there's freedom to roam, which is pretty cool considering sometimes I would play against a boss and it'll be too difficult, so I have to go back to another zone to kind of, like kill more enemies, get more gold, and buy more armor and weapons and stuff, and then I can go and fight the other boss. Also there's over 200 weapons and armors to craft, and I think that's pretty cool. It's a pixel art game also. I just wanted to put that in there. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this game. I recommend it anyone who liked bullet hells, but also like games that really do give you a challenge. There's lots of bosses to beat. I actually played the game on easy because I played it on normal, and I was like, nope, I won't be able to play this on normal, so I, put it on easy, and I still had some trouble still, even on easy, which I kind of like, because even if you're playing on easy, it still gave you a challenge, and I thought that was pretty cool. There was one moment where I rage quit. This was due to an area called the Crystal Palace or something like that, and it's like there's a zone where you have, because in the game you can get dashes, and that helps you to dash to move out of the way and dodge, bullets and stuff. And sometimes they give you challenges where you have to dash around a course, or like like dash to go up, and the ice one, the crystal one, it had ice in it, and you would like slide on it, and you had to time it just right, because if you don't, you would fall and die. And yeah, it took me so many tries, and I just gave up on that. Went to go and do another one, then I came back a couple of days later, and I managed to do it. So, very challenging game, very fun game. Also, the developer is, I can't even say that name, but I'm gonna try. Idos and Cropes is the developer, and the publisher was actually Humble Games, which cool. But yeah, I recommend anyone who likes bullet hells, likes RPG elements, it's also co-op. So if you want to play with a friend, you can do that too. But yeah, that's my spotlight today. It's a short one, just because it's it's a simple game. There's not lots of story or lots of stuff. It's just very simple, and I had a ton of fun with it, and I recommend it to anyone who likes that kind of game. Thank you.
Is it PC and Xbox or just Xbox?
It's PC, Xbox, Switch. Yeah, Xbox, PC, Switch.
Yeah, it's on the Game Pass, so it'll be on consoles
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
PC.
so you could play on Xbox and PC Pass, Xbox Game Pass. Yeah.
Looks very much like they've taken elements from games like Zelda and
Yeah.
Stardew Valley.
Yeah, some people were saying
Enter
that.
the Dungeon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people were saying that some people were saying that it is like Zelda, like not like it got elements of Zelda and stuff, which
Like Zelda on meth.
yeah, Zelda on meth. quote of the stream.
No, it does look good. And it has got that sort of Enter the Gungeon sort of look to it as well. Obviously, that's a massive bullet hell game. And I recently just picked up a bullet hell game, not so long ago. So that was Deflector, which has similar elements to this. But I think the two games are completely different in terms of their difficulty. I think. This one definitely looks like I probably should have got this over Deflector based on the difficulty. The other one's much more of a roguelite.
This has rogue elements, but it's not.
Yeah, I feel like this might not be as demanding. And like you said, although you rage quit, I mean,
only once.
It's just like once is. Sometimes you just do it just to get away from the game, didn't you? It's like that's how I felt like with a lot of these games. Sometimes they just need to go away, come back, and then like you said,
exactly.
You reset your mind a little bit. You got a different frame of mind coming into it.
Yeah, that always helps me to step away.
Separate yourself a little bit. Give yourself a little bit of time, and then. Sure enough, you go back into it and continue on.
Yeah.
Where these games really come into their own is when, like, you've got a couple of mates over and a few beers, and that's when these games are absolutely perfect.
Yeah. I would have played it with some people, but I didn't. I did it solo, but
is it
maybe in the future.
Co-op, or is it screen co-op?
Yeah, I would have thought
I think both. I think it's both. Local co-op and normal co-op. So
if I just show my age with split screen co-op there as
I'm old enough to remember split screen as well, so yeah.
Yeah, kids, there was a time before the internet where you actually had to be in the same room to play these games.
Oh my!
The screen would be split in two. Yeah.
What?
No.
No.
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
You couldn't see anything.
I don't remember. I don't remember that at all.
You had to be. You actually had to be social and meet people, and
you had to physically travel to places like.
I can't do that.
Oh no! That's no! I can't deal with that.
People, no. I can't interact.
Mingle with the people. Hell no.
That's before.
That's
before COVID as well.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
even when socialing was actually allowed, we still didn't.
Right?
We sort of stopped doing it a long time ago.
Before I used to make up any old reason, COVID gave me an actual reason to not go anywhere.
No, right.
Oh, that's why you never called up. Yeah, sorry, I can't come around today. Sorry, COVID. COVID's a thing. Still.
Yeah.
Oh dear. No, this looks good. I like it. it's $11.99. I mean, again, it's another bullet time. Because I've just bought one, I'm not sure if I'm going to get this one just yet, but I might put it
So you've got
to
Game
my
Pass,
wish
just
list.
download it.
So
That's fair
like
enough.
you said, it's on Game Pass, so you could just download it at any time.
It actually came out last year, and the positives are very positive.
It's very
Wait, that doesn't make sense. The reviews are very positive.
I'm positive. It's positive.
Yeah, I'm positive that it's positive.
It's the only time you want to see a positive, isn't it? Is
Yeah.
Don't two positives make a negative? Or is that that's my physics? That's the only thing I remember from physics.
Not just a gaming podcast. We actually educate as well.
Yeah, educate.
I feel like this one might go over our heads, and sometimes I'm like, no, I might just leave the room at this point. No, it looks good. I like it.
Yeah,
I like the graphic style of it as well. Like you said, it's pixelated
I
graphics.
recommend.
I don't mind little pixelated graphics.
I definitely want to play this drunk. That's what I want to do. Experience this drunk now.
After the comments of nobody saved the world, I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this. But then I realized it's quite different from it. It's just some similar stuff to it. But
similarities aside, it's gonna every game can be.
My burning question is co-op actually decent, or is this just some tacked on half baked?
I don't know. I presume
just follow player one around and get nothing and do nothing and progress nothing. That's what I hate about some co-op games. You can drop in and out, but you actually player two doesn't actually mean anything. It's just follow the player one around, just like a lovesick puppy. No, I hate games like that, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm hoping not so.
It does.
Because it's online co-op, so I'm hoping it's decent.
Yeah.
I think 3D just set you some homework there, so you got to come back next week and tell us.
Yeah.
This is your assignment. Choose to accept it. If you don't, it will self-destruct in 10 seconds.
Right. All good stuff.
It does go to show, though, that you can have two games that are basically the same idea, but it just comes down to how much, the developers have actually given a toss and gone into the game and come out with two completely different games, one that's playable, one that's not.
Yeah.
One significantly more fun than the other one. I'm not going to stop pointing fingers.
Exactly.
Nobody saves the world. Nobody saves the world. Well, it's like stuck in my throat there.
It's very
Nobody
fun.
saves this game.
Fun.
I'm not judgmental at all, am I?
No.
Not at all. I'm a patron saint.
Okay. I only came on this podcast to see how big your soapbox actually was when you stood on it.
Right, who's next?
Freddie, can you do this next week?
No, I don't want to.
Okay.
No, I'm joking.
No, thank you. Right.
It says no. Right, hang on. Let me get the gameplay footage up. I'm going to be talking about Bigfoot. Our friend this week.
Yes, please.
Oh yes.
And I'm going to be doubly cheeky and play my gameplay trailer from earlier. I'm just going to load that up. I'm going to mute it, of course, but my YouTube double whammy of promotion there. My YouTube and Twitch. There you go. Right, so Bigfoot, for those that don't know, is a 4-player co-op game. Or it's 5-player, but only 4 of you can play as a team, where you hunt the mythical, magical, pain in the arse known as Bigfoot. He has run rampant in a few various parks across this game, and he will basically hunt you down and kill you. That is the name of the game for Bigfoot. You, as a hunter, is to go in and investigate the deaths of people and to find out what's happened to them. The story mode, I think, is still being worked on, as opposed because it's still in early access. It has been in early access since 2017, and those that have followed the game for quite some time will realise that it was in a lot of big YouTubers played it back in the day when it first came out, and it has gone a massive upgrade and facelift. As opposed to the first iterations of Bigfoot on the scene. Hence, if you buy it on, say, G2A for the game, that has all the old graphics and all the old character models, and you can safely say it looks a little bit better now. So that update was fairly recent in November, where they redid the whole character models, all the map, all the assets. They redone the whole thing, whole shebang, and it's now a much better looking game. That being said, the whole point of the game was to work together. As a team, you run around this map, you find resources, weapons, traps, and other things to throw at Bigfoot in aims of stopping his murderous spree. That is the objective as the team. And I have to say, this is the most fun I've had as in a co-op game for quite some time. I knew it was going to be good when I was watching Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, and all the other big YouTubers play it. And they're all having laughs. Well, we did the same thing. We threw the machete in each other's faces for about 20 minutes and just died laughing. They did the same thing with the axe. So once I realised that they were all killing over themselves, throwing axe at each other, I knew it was going to be golden. And the fact that some of the animations are also comical as well, hence the chicken wings on the screen at the minute, if you're watching on my feed, I literally died laughing. It's so funny. I mean, some of the things. Not only is it scary at times, and it does have a good atmosphere. It does build up the atmosphere as well. The sound design's good. I still can't work out what that weird noise is. That sounds like Bigfoot's farting or something. I don't know what it still freaks me out. But it's quality just through and through. The big up the development team. I need to get who they are. Hang on 1 second. Because it's an indie game, and with all games,
Cyberlight Game Studio.
Yeah, Cyberlight Game Studio, who actually messaged me on Twitter telling me they thank me for playing their game and making YouTube videos on it. So I was like, oh right, sweet. No game codes yet. I'll let you know. But in all honesty, it's one of the best games ever out there, co-op wise, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. It's if you have a couple of friends. And I will recommend like 3 players and above, as unlike some co-op games that lock you into having 4 players. Unfortunately, GTFO does that. You have to have 4 human players to enjoy it properly. In this game, you can have 1, 2, 3, 4 players, and you can fight against the AI Bigfoot, and that's where the challenge comes in. However, the real fun of this game is it's 5-player, and 1 person can be the Bigfoot, and you can have 4 other people being hunters, which as we mucked about with Bigfoot ourselves on our stream the other week, we found out how good it is to be Bigfoot or how bad it is to be Bigfoot. Both cases, power or lack of power. We both lamented that Bigfoot was a big, giant, no energy git like me, really. I'm actually hairier than Bigfoot. No, he's pretty good. It's a very good game. I'm going to go around in circles singing his praises. The only thing I don't like sometimes is the clipping through the floor when you get stuck, and sometimes you get stuck in the doorway. It only happens like once or twice, nothing major. And there's a few sound distortion areas that I've come across as well, playing on my own. And sometimes Bigfoot would just break. He would just stare at you. He would just stand there and just wave. Hello, hi, I'm going to eat you in a minute. I'm just going to stand here for a little while. And then in one of the games I had on my own, I was mucking about. The teepees what I thought was invulnerable, right? What the infamous teepees the camps, right? So I looped him around the teepee, and I stood in the other side. You know where the bear is, like in the map, right? So I'm going a bit specific here, reader. I'm sorry, but in this map, there's a teepees and there's Indian camps. Huts and stuff, and you can go and hide in these places. It's a camping ground. There's lots of these places throughout the map. This particular place has a bear in one of the camps. Now I hid behind the bear in the teepee, and Bigfoot came into the teepee, and he stood next to the bear, and he looks at me. He looks at the bear. He looks at me. He looks at the bear. He roared and then ran off.
Oh wow!
So it just made me laugh. That was an actual bug where you couldn't distinguish the player and the model, but it did make me laugh. I wish I was recording it at the time, but bugs like that. It's not. I haven't come across any game breaking bugs. I don't know if you guys. I don't think the game's crashed for you guys yet. I haven't had any hard crashes. Crashed the desktops. I've not had any errors or anything like that. It's been very minor. So the game is very polished for an early access, and you would expect it to be polished considering how long it's been out for. But if you've got 15 quid knocking around, and if you actually, in actual fact, I know I shouldn't do this, but promotion-wise, if you go onto G2A, we're not sponsored, please sponsor us, right? And you can buy this game for 6 quid. It's a bargain.
See, that's a steal.
Yeah, it's an absolute bargain.
Steal.
There is some rumblings that it might come to console, and it might have cross-platform with PC. So it could in the future, we don't know what the state is going to be once it's out of early access. But a lot of console players and console communities have asked for it to be on console because there isn't many decent co-op games like PvE games these days. I mean, a lot of them, especially revolving around hunting Bigfoot in the forest. I mean, come on, that's a pretty cool idea in itself. I mean, it's different from the old ghosty games that we're getting so many of.
Yeah.
I want more
Yeah.
monster games. I think Silence is not so. It's not so much as a monster survival. It's not monster hunting. It's more of a monster survival game. So it emphasizes on the hunt or be hunted mantra. But it is one of the best games I've played, and I can't speak prior to the update, but since obviously buying it pre-update 4.2, I think it was, it is a must-own title. If you have a group of friends, you're in a small community or a small streamer, I highly recommend you pick this game up, play it, you'll love it. We do, and I highly recommend you get it. And that's where I'm gonna leave it at that for the mighty Bigfoot. What
Nice.
you guys think of it?
I just want to say that it was a nice fresh breath. Hang on. It's a nice fresh. No wait. Nice breath.
Nice breath of fresh air.
It's a nice breath of fresh air to play something like that, which is completely different to like Phasmophobia and stuff. It was super fun. And when I first saw you guys play it, I was actually like in tears, crying. It was just like laughing.
Yeah.
It was so funny, and I'm glad I got to have some very funny moments when we played it. And I'm excited to see what they do in the future with it because it was just excellent. It's super fun.
As a viewer, it's one of the best games to actually watch, just like see being played, and something that's like sets it apart. The hunting side sets it apart from games like Dead by Daylight and things like that, where you've got a similar situation of a monster who's, pretty much an unstoppable killing machine against you. You've actually got a chance to fight back on this, but it then sort of goes into the aspect of like some of the games where, like Alien Isolation, where yes, we've given you a gun. Do you feel better now? It doesn't do anything, but we've given you a gun. Here you go. But something I was sort of saw when I first started this, I like cryptozoology and all that sort of thing, is they have taken a lot of the Bigfoot lore, like tree knocks, eating creatures, laying traps, the totems and things like that, that are things that the Bigfoot hunters actually sort of say exist, and they've included it in here. So
That's
it's
awesome.
They've obviously done their research. They haven't just gone stuck a pin in a map and gone, oh look, Appalachians, what's there? Bigfoot, right? We'll have that. It's and next week we're going to do Dead by Nessie. It's. But I really hope this comes out on consoles. Mate, they don't do a 7 Days to Die where the console side gets left behind. It is, is fully supported because as a viewer, it's great. It really is great.
Yeah, we definitely got to play with you if it comes to console.
Oh, damn, yes. Yes, I shall be Bigfoot because,
that was good fun. I'm glad to have been involved in that. And even like as Jenny was pointing out, like even as a viewer, it's great entertainment to watch people run around and be scared of the living daylights out of, because you can watch it, because I have been now a player and a viewer as well, so I've got I've seen both sides of it and just been involved in it. Just recently, I think me and Freedy, we obviously for our community we started it off as a bit of a twosome, and then Beth joined us and then recently Alex, who's in the chat as well, just played just recently, and it like you said, having people around you that you're familiar with and are have been engaging with, like you bounce off each other as well. Those moments when we're throwing knives at each other was just, it's for larking about. It's very great fun. It was just fun to play. It is silly fun. It is I don't know if you'd mentioned this prior to, I don't know if I can't remember you said it, but there is a couple of maps that we haven't unlocked yet.
In a second.
Oh.
There's 4 maps in total, and that's just the early access availability. From what I've gathered, the roadmap, there's going to be 6 maps in total.
Right. Okay.
So
Okay.
we've got access to 2 maps at the start.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know how you unlock the other 2 maps. I think it's just coming soon. That's based on updates, I think. And we've got one map which is basically like what's not Jelly Park, National something like one of the big parks.
Appalachian National Park,
Yeah,
something
like
like
that.
that.
Something like that. Yeah, based on that. And then you've got one that's based on the Wendigo up in the mountains. So the Bigfoot turns into a Wendigo.
Oh.
So he becomes a different skin, and I think he behaves slightly differently as well.
Not Winnebago.
No, not Winnebago, like I said. We're talking the Winnebago today.
We're fighting the Winnebagos. I'll let down its tires. You smash its windows in, and we'll be fine.
Exactly. Yeah. Bigfoot's now called Winnebago's new game change name.
No, but it was things like that. All right, you get and think, your mind sort of just gets things wrong because you're too into the moment as well. So you obviously, you did that. You saying that because you arrive at those camps in a Winnebago, didn't you? So that's understandable why that was on your mind.
Yeah.
But
and that's why those games wouldn't work as an English release, because it'd be VW campervan.
Oh, it would.
Being chased by the camper van. Oh.
We haven't even gotten to the best part yet, and that's the twisting around the corpse.
Oh,
yeah.
The corpse thing.
Power bombing the corpse and
Pile driver.
and then sticking it to walls and in doorways.
That was so fun.
Using Beth as a barricade was great.
Yeah,
I know.
Brilliant.
I wasn't a very good one, was I?
So it's the things like that, moments like that, just stick with you because it's so funny.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can't do that in Phasmophobia, can you?
I would say that was
goes to the wall.
If that's a bug, you know what? I don't mind it.
Keep it
in, because that was
so
just
fun.
That was fun in itself. That was just pure fun.
I want to get if I'm the only survivor, or any of us has got a group of 4 of us, and please find all the bodies and stick them on one of the walls in the building somewhere.
Oh my
just take
god!
A screenshot.
Like human wall. That would be so good. Brilliant.
Yeah, no, it's good fun. It was good fun.
Bigfoot, must-own title. Get it now.
Get it now.
And it's not got old yet either. Some of these these big multiplayer games, they get a bit stale quite quickly. Where you've been there, you've done it, you've seen it. Phasmo hasn't yet, but there was it the Ghost Hunter one? Yeah, that got a bit stale, a bit quick, didn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas this, it's just not showing any signs of slowing down.
No. And with pending maps coming out as well, you've got replayability there as well to come back to.
Yeah.
You can always try out these different maps, different locations. Like the format will probably be similar in many ways, but you've got the fun of different locations, and it's always going to be not knowing where hidden objects are and trying to find out those special weapons. So it's definitely worth coming back to a couple of times. A few times, not just a couple, but a good few times.
I will say that the game does have some form of monetization, but in terms, to be fair to the developers, it's the cheapest monetization I've ever seen. For most skins, right, in most games these days, you'll see them for about 9-10 quid. You can change it. You can customize Bigfoot to make him look like quite a few selections. They've just brought out. It's £2 a skin. Yeah. I mean, to me, that's nothing. I mean, it's a couple. That's to me, that's fair. If even a £5, I would be willing to pay for the skins just to support this game and these developers. And I don't say that willy-nilly. You know how I feel about monetization and stuff. If a developer deserves the support and they're reasonably priced for the stuff they're adding onto the game, even if it is like 10-15 quid for the base game, which still isn't that much for the content we've got, the quality content we've got from it and enjoyment, I don't mind. Here you go, have a couple of extra quid. It's fine. This will lead on to a little bit later on, but it was I wish more game companies did fairer monetizations like Bigfoot does.
Yeah. £5 on a £15 game is nothing. It's when they bring out these ones, you pay £35 and you've got to pay £5 for a DLC that adds a skin.
Yeah.
Battlefield.
60 quid, 70 quid even now, thanks to Next Generation. It's £10 for the same pixelation. It's still 4K. Where are you getting this extra 10 quid from? That's what I want to know. Anyway, sorry, I'll shut up because I'll start rambling and then it will turn into a massive tangent. Zip it, put a pin in it for later. There you go. Bigfoot.
Pretty fun.
Glad you shared that. That was
Yeah.
really fun.
Well, no way I could really follow that, really. Although, right, Jenny did mention
Just
it.
praise it.
All right, well, I'm going to mention it anyway, but Jenny did mention this. Alien Isolation is my spotlight of the week, just because we had so many games that I have played recently, and there's a couple of games that I've played in the past. Like I said, with spotlights, it doesn't have to be something that's recent, but it can be something that's we've done a while ago. And this is another game that I actually enjoyed, like when I first got a chance to play it. I'll try and play the trailer. There we go. Load that up.
I'm gonna load up your gameplay.
And yeah, so Alien Isolation, it's a single player action adventure. It is set in the same universe as obviously Alien, the 1979 film, I think it is. 1979 Alien. It's set 15 years after the events of the original Alien film. So yeah, you play as Amanda Ripley, daughter of course, Ellen. And she learns that there's a flight recorder on board, like the flight recorder from her mother's ship, the Nostromo, which you need to find and locate it, and you want to try and get there. You are, as I said, in the same universe. So you start off, it's a single player action game. Stealth elements are, it's very the emphasis on stealth and survival horror. Yeah, you just got to go around this station. Is it Sevastopol station? I think it's called. Yeah.
Why? I can't remember the person.
Yeah.
Sevastopol.
Sevastopol is the station that you go around. You are accompanied by, I think there's two other people. There's Taylor, who's like the executive from Weyland-Yutani, and you're also joined by Samuels, I think his name is.
Yeah, Samuels.
Samuels. Yeah, and you get split up. You go around the station. Like I said, there's such the way they did this when it first. I don't think there's really been that many games that come out since, apart from one or two here and there. You don't get many games with this sort of tension that this game has. This game retains the same sort of retention as when you first see the film, which I really enjoyed. Prognostic, I think, was something that was similar to with its tension. That was the last time I played anything like this. And that you look at the dates in particular of the two games. Like one was just recently, and this is 2014. So. Wow. That's if you're looking at that sort of timescale to get a game that has got that sort of tension in it, when's the next one coming out? Like 5 years, maybe? I hope not. Hopefully, there's going to be coming out a bit sooner than that. But yeah, I really enjoyed playing it. It was a great game. Like I said, it's got a lot of stealth into it. You're on Sevastopol. You've got to try and find the flight recorder. Everyone's split up. Someone gets injured. There's not just the alien on board. There's also some androids, which kind of fit into the lore as well. I think if you follow some of the lore of Alien, although this is based on the first game, there's a lot of books out there as well, and there's a lot of other stories and a lot of other games that have the robots. I can't think what they're called now, but
Androids. Working Joes.
Working Joes. The Working Joes. Thank you.
Are they Weyland-Yutani, aren't they?
They're Seascan. These ones are Seascan.
Oh, okay.
Seascan. Yeah, they're the Seascan Corporation space station, and you're orbiting the gas giant KG. Let's have a look at my notes. 348. Yeah, sorry. And yeah, it's got so much tension in it. There's a lot of tension in it. There's a lot of you need to hide from the alien. You do get given, as we've seen within the trailer as well, the gameplay, the motion sensor. Obviously, that's familiar to people who have watched who have seen any of the films. You get given weapons, although some of the weapons on it are good against the Working Joes. So you first start off with getting the handgun, later get the shotgun. You get given, obviously, the flamethrower, which is a big fan thing as well, because everyone remembers the flamethrower. From, I think that, although the one that they give you, I think it's more based on the second film, whereas this is whereas in that, I think in the first film it was only a short flamethrower. I don't think it was like a little rod that extended, come out of a little gasoline tank, I think, if I recall. I don't know, it's been a while ago since I've seen the film, but yeah, it's, the surroundings is very familiar to you when you look at the space station itself, and you look at that, because the film, when it came out, obviously it tried to predict what the future is, and like early sci-fi films always had that, they tried to imagine what future would be like, but you still got those old-fashioned sort of if you remember, like the school computers that you had, like the BBC computers, I think they were called. You had that sort of style to it, because that was like the late 70s, early 80s, I think it was. But that sort of look in the film, and it's there in the game, and it's sort of like you reminisce a little bit from the film. So it's easy to get lost in that as well. Nostalgia that surrounds you, with a lot of the little toy birds on the spring, which is going backwards and forwards. There's little things like that you point out, and little details like that just make it even more immersed. So because you are playing it first person as well, and you're going around, you've got to find certain things as well to craft. You can craft things like noise makers to distract the alien. You got and not just the alien, but also the working Joes. And there are some humans on board that you'll come across. Usually they become bait to be, fodder. Yeah, basically. It is one of the best like horror games I've played in a long time. As a single player experience, it's great fun. You hiding in lockers, with all hiding in the locker when the alien comes in, and it looks, and there is times when the alien will actually open up the locker next to you, and that's where the tension builds. You're inside that locker and you're thinking, please don't look please don't look at me, please don't look in here, please don't look and then if you leave it long enough, it will actually do that. I think it's designed,
it will find you.
It will find you.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
It hunts you
I don't
down.
like that.
It knows, I think it's programmed to go around. It has a program in it that goes around, and it would always check the other locker that you're not in, but then if you don't move after a certain time elapses, it will go to that locker that you are in, so it will find you.
That's pretty clever, actually.
Yeah, I mean, the way that, considering, like I said, it's 2014 it came out, it was probably in early development a lot sooner than that, and probably like maybe 2010, maybe, I'm not sure exactly when it was done, but they've done a really great game with the universe itself. There's not been many Alien games to come out to match it, or any horror game, or like I said, to match the tension of it. Like I said, Prognostic was probably the only one that I've played recently, and that's a recent game. It's 2021, so it's a good few years gap to play a game with the same sort of tension. But to be hunted by the alien and not knowing where it is. I mean, I've played it. I played it on stream, but a couple of times I played it off stream to go back to a couple of save points, and I went into there are air vents that you'll recognise from the films, when the circle air vents, and the sound design as well. Of course, the sound is there as well from the Alien films.
Sound is perfect.
The sound is perfect.
Yeah, the sound design is amazing.
Is really good when it opens up and it does that sound as the vents open up. I actually crawled into the vent, and it was hiding inside the vent. I was like, no, it killed me. I was like, damn it, I had to reset. So I played it on and off stream a few times, but just getting lost, getting chased. There's a couple of set pieces.
Footsteps are really good as well.
Oh, the footsteps.
You can hear footsteps and stuff.
And you don't know which
way.
The hiss.
Oh, the hiss.
That hiss is just terrifying.
It's it's one of the most. It is one of the most terrifying games I think I've played in a long time. It is, like I said, it's a survival horror. It's kind of a run and gun, kind of walking simulator, but like the weapons don't really do anything. The only thing you can really use against it is the flamethrower, or maybe if you can time it perfectly, a Molotov cocktail, just throw it. But they never really. It's like we've given you all these weapons, but you can't use them, so you feel useless.
Yeah. They're just to make you feel better.
It's
They
there.
do.
Yeah, it's there to make you
Comfort.
give it a bit of comfort. Exactly. So, but like I said, I think it's more so against the working Joes that you'll use the weapons against. There is a bolt gun later on that you find, which is an air. I think it's like air pressure to sort of bolt comes out of that you find much later in the game. Many people I would say that I've spoken to about it said that it may have been too long. There's certain sections that it could have just cut out, but I still enjoyed the length of it. It gave me my money's worth. I mean, at the moment, I would say money's worth. This 2014 game. There's a 75% off on Steam, and you can get this game reduced from £29.99 down to £7.49. So if you haven't got it, I mean,
wow.
you know,
That's
it's a decent price to pay. It is a special offer at the moment, and it will end soon. And yeah, there is a season pass. There is some other maps that you can get, which allow you to play around with some of the characters from the original film, which are the voice actors, whilst they were still alive. Because I know that Harry Dean Stanton sadly he passed, so he's no longer around.
You get to play as Ripley on the.
You actually do get to play as Ripley on the
DLC.
So DLC, So
I didn't know that.
and they're sort of
crew expendable.
Yeah.
That happens towards the end of the first film.
Yeah, it's literally there's actually so that it ties up some loose ends, I think, from the film, which is really good. The way that they managed to do that and to get those actors back in, like I said, sadly, I think there's one who played, I think it was Kato. I think it was the black actor. I can't remember.
Keto,
I think Keto. Yeah, I think he died as well. So
He
yeah, they're
died
no longer around. They're no longer around any now. So for them to get those in before that, before sadly they passed. But yeah, the fact that they're in there as the original cast as well makes it even more special. And yeah, it's one of those games I love playing with it. Like I said, I've played it a couple of times since my playthrough that I did live, and I even went back to a couple of save points to see if I could pick up anything else, like trying to get those that sort of 100% completion, if you like, but it never really paid off. There is a few sections in it. There's a few good sections. There's points where you're going out. There's a spacewalk section where you are actually on the planet from the first film. So spoiler alert, if you haven't already played it, there is a section in the game that takes you back, not just because of the design. Obviously Nostromo was a big thing, but there is a section in the game which takes you back to the actual planet. It's played through as a memory, so you play as one of the NPCs allows you to go back, and there's a bit of story there, so you get that experience of actually wearing a spacesuit. There is a couple of times where it's when you're on the station and you have to do spacewalks to go outside to do a couple of. There's a few puzzles in it added as well, just to get your brain ticking a little bit. But there's always that tension at the back of mind. How far on this puzzle am I going to get before this alien comes along? And it's never, you never fully know that you're safe. You never feel safe at all. You're always feeling like there's the tension in it is really good. The way it built up through the whole game throughout is excellent. Like I said, it is 2014 when it came out. Most people might have played it by now, but some people who haven't. If you haven't played it, give it a go. Like, if you're really looking into if you're into survival horror and sci-fi, I mean, the backdrops in this game as well. Like, beautiful backdrops. The way that you're on this giant space station, which by the time I think we're looking at sort of 2137, it's like 100 years or so into our future, and you look at that space station. That if that was man-made, how many man hours would that have taken to build it? You know,
I know, right?
I mean, it's crazy to think
Incredible.
that would have to be built at some point. Maybe they've used obviously the working Joes, but you know, however they've got around it. When you're walking around outside on that space station, and you look and you can see that giant planet just in the distance there. Oh,
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's just, and that feeling of walking through as well. There's like, again, we go back to that sound design when you're walking in the spacesuit and you've got that heavy breathing because you can hear your own breath, and you get that fog lifts up on the face on the front of the visor. It's like how immersive can you? There's not many games that get you that immersed.
But that's all you can hear is your breathing.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
You can't hear
And that's
nothing else.
Yeah.
You don't know anything's behind you until it's too late.
No.
And then it's there's yeah, like I said, there's a few set pieces in it that really get the tension going, and it's like you don't know when it's going to happen. Is it a working joke? Is it just another human? Because even the humans on board the ship, on the space station, I should say, you don't know whether they're against you or going to run away, because that's, you know, again, without spoiling anything, I'm not going to say one way or another, but yeah, there's humans there, there's robots, there's as well as an alien or aliens, or you know, however many there were supposed to be on there. But it's just going against this aliens. Oh, the way they've programmed the mapping of the alien, the way it works was really good. Like, I think it has like an arc vision. So depending on the difficulty, I think they increased the the vision so that the alien will see you at certain points if you for its vision. I think that's how it works. I think so. If you're on an easier setting, it has a much more narrow vision. Whereas if you're on a higher difficulty, I think it has a much wider vision. I think that's how it works. But I mean, the way they've programmed it, it's just. The AI, I've never seen AI like it before or since that playing that, and that's why it is a must go to game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not much I can add to that. Really.
The DLCs are actually lifted straight from the screenplays.
All right, yeah, okay.
Cool.
The one with the crew expendable, that's actually in the Orson Scott Card's screenplay.
Right.
And this Ridley Scott has actually said that this is now part of the Alien canon.
Yeah.
Another thing, they actually have released a book of this game, like a novel, which sort of like goes into what she's thinking and what she's feeling, and that really ramps up the fear factor, because like when you like read it and you sort of think, oh shit, I remember being here, and what she's actually done and what she's feeling and everything, and like, you know, when she's like watching that she's in the air vent and she watches that guy get done over by the Joe, they're like the shock she feels and everything. It really sort of does add an element to it. So it is I think it's timeless, this game.
Yeah, it is. I mean, like you said, when there is moments in that where it is, you're saying that when you see that actually happen, because like you said, it's an event that happens within the game, and like, although you've got the narration from like her thoughts in the book, and when you see that, they get, it's a fine. We've got a horror game that's based on a film which is 18 plus. There is elements of gore and stuff, but it's done tastefully. Rather than this, you know, not just for the sake of gore. It's not done just for shock. It's because like you want to feel terrified of seeing this thing. You want to feel terrified of it. And I think it's done enough that you don't put the controller down and walk away. You just want to carry on playing it. Like, it's not. I don't think it's too overdone, like the gore side of things. I think it's done in a distastefully. It's done tastefully, if that, you know, with the amount of blood spatter.
It's like an animal attack rather than a slasher attack.
Yes, yeah.
I will say that when you got to kill an android, the noise that it made was just like that stuck with me.
Yeah, the sound design is something else.
Yeah.
It is.
It's like
I
gross,
would love
also
to have
awesome.
seen a documentary of how they made those sounds. I would love to see how they come up with what did they do to make those sound effects so visceral and real. It just makes my skin crawl. You know the developers of this game actually have only made RTS before this.
Right.
Creative Assembly. They made Rome, and that was it.
Yeah.
Oh,
The other partner, Feral Interactive, only ever made XCOM 2 and
Yeah.
Troy, and they worked on a couple of titles like Company of Heroes, Shadow of the Tomb Raider afterwards.
Right.
In this sort of time frame, the only other game they worked on was Life is Strange.
oh wow.
So it gives you a sort of how good this development team is when they're given something worthy of making. And I'm quite surprised. And all the adaptations we've had for movies wise, this hasn't become a movie.
Yeah.
Made a movie out of it.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. No.
It's
Still to happen.
and going back to what you were saying about it being cheap on Steam, the whole collection, all the DLC is £8.74 on Steam. It's also on Game Pass. Also, Epic Games also give this game away every 6 months.
Right. Okay.
So I got it for free in the Epic Games Store.
I got it for free too, but I had it before.
Also, Twitch also gives this game away sometimes.
Yeah.
It's Twitch Prime.
Yeah.
Prime games you get every month.
I think it's quite regularly on sale, isn't it?
It's usually like £3. I think G2A with DLC, I think it's even cheaper than that. It's usually about £5.74, something like that. So, this game is old, and like you say, it's timeless. This holds up.
Yeah.
In fact, I still think it surpasses most of the horror games we have these days. I don't think this is a work of art that
one
is
of the best.
light years ahead of what we've got, what's come to pass. It is so well done. The creative team itself has never beaten this. They have never made a game better or equal to Alien Isolation, and no one has come close to replicating the atmosphere, the horror, the tension, the aliens feel like you're in the universe as much as Alien Isolation does. And I'm quite surprised there isn't a VR game of this.
Maybe they're making one.
I would hope that if you imagine playing this in VR,
This would be terrifying.
You'd actually die. You'd throw up everywhere. Yeah.
Oh,
you would just poop your pants. It's quite literally.
I probably wouldn't be able to sleep. To be honest.
I've never played this game. I've watched it and sorry, Jelly.
No, go on. I'm interrupting
I was just going to say that I've all the games I've played, and I've played so many horror games. When I've played this, I've got 3 hours in, and then when I have to evade the alien, I'm like, nope, get off, no, can't do it, and I've quit out. But this is a game I love to watch people play. I think I don't know whether there's something wrong with me, but I like taking great enjoyment watching people squirm playing this game.
This is
really fun to watch.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, it's another one of those games that you can watch people play it because it's not to give anyone any ideas, but if they've got sound effects. This is another one of those.
Watching Steve for about 3 weeks. Just to save up the points to get as many Leroy Jenkins as I can in there.
I was thinking the same thing.
Well, this game actually got a BAFTA for its audio achievement, I think. Yeah. So it's actually
deserves it.
So I mean, when games start getting BAFTAs, it doesn't often happen. So, I mean, again, talking back in the day of like 2014, it's a few years ago now. So
still not surpassed.
Yeah, I mean that's still yet to be beaten. Yeah,
like a film to game release, or it was the byword for meh.
Yeah,
this has surpassed it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
This proved that games based on movies can be top tier, legendary games if done properly and stick to the lore instead of adding their own.
Exactly.
Do you find yourself judging other game to film or film to game titles the same? I did this with Guardians of the Galaxy. I started playing it and I was sort of thinking, but they could have made an Alien Isolation free roamer game for this.
I see.
That was the bench. This is now the benchmark for me.
Yeah. I kind of to be honest, I played the game before I watched the movies, so it's kind
Alright,
of,
okay.
it was a different experience for me. But I was expecting it because I've seen elements of the movies, and yeah, it's a good question. I can't really answer it though.
With Guardians of the Galaxy, that was based more on the comics than the actual
Yeah.
MCU, and it flew a lot under the radar because everyone expected it to be crap. Because it's like, oh, Square Enix, they've made Avengers, or Avengers was pish. And I wrote it off. I completely wrote it off. Like, I thought it was going to be absolutely awful. I thought, oh, it's just going to be reskinned Avengers, with no story elements or anything like that. It's going to be boring to play. It's going to be very short. I did not expect literally Marvel's Mass Effect to come out of Guardians of the Galaxy.
I got the other thing. I absolutely loved it for quite a few hours, and then I just realised that I've done everything the game had to offer. It was like hammer the buttons and wiggle the sticks again.
Yeah, I mean, I get that the gameplay is quite repetitive.
Yeah,
but the story hooked me enough to play through it. Although it
I agree. Yeah,
definitely wasn't Game of the Year material. It was certainly a lot better than I thought it was going to be. It was above average in every sense of the word. The graphics, the soundtrack, the acting, the story held over the gameplay for me. And I think where Alien Isolation exceeds is it has everything. It has the gameplay, it has the story, it has the acting, it has the sound design, it has the tension, it has the whole shebang. And no one expected Creative Assembly and Feral Interactive to produce such a monster of a game. When I found out that Creative Assembly, who done nothing but RTS games, were working on this, I was like, "It's got crap. It's gonna be terrible. Like, how can they possibly make a decent first-person story game? All you do is command armies and send them into their death. It's a completely different genre whatsoever. And whoever the creative lead was, and whoever they got to make this game,
Incredible stuff.
well done. You get to repeat said game or any other context, but still, well done.
Yeah.
It's still a great achievement, and in 8 years ago now.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's amazing that it still holds up, and it's so cheap. They could easily get away with charging 15, 20 quid for this still, and it'd still be worth the money. Given how old it is, easily.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, go on, Steve.
No, so I was just going to just continuing on from what you're saying about the money, the side of things. When I mentioned about people complaining that it was too long, do you know, if you're going to complain about a game being too long, look at some of the games that are available now for maybe twice, 3 times the price. Like, you're at least now. I mean, if you are complaining about the length of it, if you are and you want to pay now is the good time to play the game because it's a much cheaper price. So games don't really do 40 hours anymore unless you replay it. No, they're a lot less. So actually, just stop your bitching. I just wanted to add to that because it's
it's like they re-released Mass Effect remastered 1, 2, and 3 because they can't recreate the magic of those 3 games.
No,
people are crying out. Like, that's why God of War did so well. People are crying out for lengthy, decent, story-driven games. They don't want agenda-driven pish and loads of multiplayer-only crap. People like playing with their friends and all the rest of it, but we also like to escape in these other worlds and enjoy a good story with good acting, good and really get it. It's like reading a good book, isn't it? It's just, but you're interacting with it and you're enjoying it properly. And you're able to switch off properly from the world. You can't really do that in Call of Duty or anything like that, can you? You can't really relax. In the other co-op games, you can't really have that sort of experience. So when it made me laugh when EA said, "Oh, single player games are dead." What?
No.
What planet are you on?
They're not dead. It's just people aren't making them good enough anymore.
No, people were subbing them out for. The people want multiplayer. No, we don't.
Yeah.
No, we don't. We still want our brilliant single player experiences, and
we play games for escapism.
Yeah,
it's to take yourself out of your normal mundane life and for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever, be someone else, something else, doing something you can't normally do, or be that running around a space station, romancing aliens in space, shooting someone in a SPS game, looking for the mayor's pants in Stardew Valley, anything like that.
Yeah, I remember
it's
that.
just something that you're not normally do, that takes you out of the real world for a few hours. And a lot of that is first-person single-player games. It's not the multiplayer games where you've got to be talking to someone, and which are okay when you're with your mates, but when you suddenly go on to like these, I mean, what's it? Then they've got like 80 players each side on a multiplayer platform.
That's a good example.
Well,
of that.
great, thanks a bunch there. I don't want to mix with 20 people in a pub, let alone 80 people online.
Yeah,
I know, right? Yeah.
It's just I just don't know where they got this whole. Well, the people want multiplayer games from. Who said that? Who point me to the group of people that said that, so I can slap some sense into them, because it's just, nobody said that as far as I was concerned. As far as I could read, look up in forums everywhere, everyone was like, "No,
Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? It's small groups of fans who have money, and they like spend money on it, and
the whales.
They listen to those people because they're giving them money. It's very unfair for
voice of the
real
minority, not the majority.
players. Well, I'm not saying people who don't like single player games aren't gamers, but
they chased money, didn't they? They saw, we're making money from this. The whales will aim at our market at the whales, and because these people have got nothing better to spend their money on, and they don't think about the ramifications it has on the gaming industry as a whole, or the ramifications on the indie industry, and what normal gamers want. It's just like, we'll cater to these rich gits, and we'll forget about everyone else, and we'll make all this rubbish, and we'll churn out the same shit every year after year, and sod the rest of it. And then when that didn't work, they were like, well, why is no one buying this stuff now then? It's because we told you at the start we didn't want any of this. It seems like they like to go around in circles and then go, we should have listened then, shouldn't we? Oh, no shit, Sherlock.
It's easier to release an overpriced DLC of a game than it is to think of something new.
All that talent at your disposal, and you just waste it. Looking at you, CJ Projekt Red. Hey, little jab there, little jab. Cyberpunk in a hurry.
Is this a good way to segue? Are we segue into our
news
discussions and questions?
Are we going to do questions? We're going to ask Jason questions first before we move
on.
I
think we should do that
main
first.
Discussion. Yeah.
Okay.
Spotlight time, Jelly.
Time to interrogate. Question.
Payback's a bitch.
So here we go.
I'm joking.
This is where
so that's why I'm
shine the light.
I understand now.
All right.
And you're sure that when I've answered these questions, I'm going to be allowed to go and see my family again? You said
maybe.
Well, maybe.
We'll give you some water. That's what you get.
Well, this water, will it be in the form of a towel over my head or in a glass?
You'll have to wait and see. It's a surprise. Okay.
Right.
Go on. Let's go.
So are we just going to run off this little list I did earlier then?
Yeah, go for
it. I wanted to ask...
go on.
Yeah,
go on, Beth. No, go on, Beth. Right,
just a question. It kind of like ties in with the other ones. But question is, what game made you interested in gaming? Like, what game got you interested in it and made you just carry on like playing games and stuff?
That's probably quite it. It's the old Fighting Fantasy game books. And I remember picking one. I was at school, so this is how old. I mean, I'm 50, so I remember Pong. So that was like my.
I remember that.
I remember someone gave us one of those. And it was it's called Forest of Doom, and it had this guy on the front, and it's sort of like I've got to read this book, and I've got to turn the page, and flicking the page to go to like find out the next one, and that hooks me into it, and then sort of got into Dungeons and Dragons, and then one day I was I used to belong to a role playing games club, and this guy came and said, "I bought a Mega Drive," and what? And I've got this game called Final Fantasy on there. And are you sure this is a Mega Drive? Did you get this off the top shelf or what? Final Fantasy, what? And so then we got Mega Drives, and I got my first Dragon Ball Z game. That was out on there, and I bought a game on there called Warriors of Eternal Sun, and it was a D&D game. And I might have been the only person on the planet who actually bought this game. And that was one of the first games where I thought, you're sort of playing it and going, "Oh, just 5 more minutes, just 5 more minutes. Quite bright in here. Is that the sun?"
Yeah.
And, so it was probably the Fighting Fantasy game books, and you still they're still playable now. Just have a look at. But so it wasn't exactly a computer game as such. But my first computer game was Defender, and I went in hospital to have my appendix out, and my dad bought us it, and it was on like I don't know if you remember these old Game Watch things. Where you Donkey Kong.
I remember them.
Yeah. And it was like a arcade box, and basically all you had was 2 controls: up, down, fire, and that was it. And I could spend hours playing this in this hospital, and it just ate batteries. But that was the first video game that I sort of ever bought, and there was like no options on there, but you just like went up, down, fire, fire, up, down, fire. And then they brought out Pac-Man, which you could go up, down, backwards, and forwards, and that was a revelation.
That's awesome. Yeah. I like that. Okay, thank you.
No, that's okay. Yeah, I'm glad I could prove my age to everyone.
That's the plan.
Well, that's it. It's time for bed now. Am I Ovaltine?
You need Horlicks and paper.
Am I bird bar?
Nice. So this might be a tricky question for you to answer, Jerry. I don't know if you. You probably saw them. I wrote a couple of questions in. I'm just going to read from that earlier. Your favourite game from the past 5 years?
Well, I'm going to cheat and say Mass Effect Legendary.
Yeah. I thought you'd say that. But I'll get why.
I have. I'm also going to cheat by going forward a couple of questions. I have sunk thousands of hours into Mass Effect.
I know this one. Yeah.
I still get there, and I have never once played a Renegade game in there because I just get in there and just go, "Oh no, I've got to be nice to them."
Really?
I can't.
Renegade's so much fun.
I cannot do it.
Renegade's amazing, though.
Oh, I can't do it. I wish I could.
It's good to be bad in Mass Effect. Really.
Not ever played a Renegade game.
Especially if Jack's your partner of interest. She is so good as a Renegade. She does so much evil shit.
I just usually go straight for Tally. That's it. I'm intrigued with what's behind that mask.
That is a top choice. That's one of my favourite games of all time as well. So, flip side of that, what's the worst game you've played in the last 5 years?
Right, this game came out, and it's one of the ones that went under the radar. Now, originally, this game came out on the old Mega Drive, and it's a game called Road Rash. And you're on a motorbike, and you're going down a road, and there's a biker gang out. No, it's not a biker gang, and you're in a race, and people are trying to knock you off your bike, and you get like bottles and chains and things like that. And like back on the Mega Drive, it's fantastic. They then re-released it on the Xbox, and it was shit.
Oh,
I mean, I'm sorry to swear on your podcast and sort of raise the thing up to PG, but it was absolutely rubbish. I mean, it didn't even look like they just made an effort to improve the graphics or anything. It was absolutely horrendous. If you ever get a chance to sort of see this thing, it's an abomination. It's not even a game which is so bad that it became good. It was just horrendous. I got it from our local game store. I took it home. I loaded it up. I played about 20 minutes. I unloaded it and I got back in the car. Back.
wow. Oh, that's terrible.
That's funny.
Horrendous game.
What was that? Why was that such a bad What was it such a bad thing, do you think? Was it just because they transitioned it from like when you remember it to, because like the Mega Drive, you had Road Rash. Sorry?
it was uncontrollable.
Oh,
The
just- yeah.
controls were clunky as hell.
Yeah.
And if you know, the game was. I thought about actually buying the original cartridge and put it in my Mega Drive because it actually would have been so much better than having this. There was no tutorial, so like you got on your bike and then you had to work out the 3 keys: the accelerate, decelerate, and whack something keys.
Yeah.
I think there was more options with keys on the Mega Drive, and graphically it was just. It wasn't any. I don't think it was an improvement on the Mega Drive one. It was almost as if it was a Mega Drive Classic they brought out.
Cheap cash in.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't even say it's a cheap cash.
Yeah, just knock off.
Yeah.
EA game is.
It's
EA
games,
not in the game.
It's not in the game. Not in any game in any
Or
context.
EAA, there's too much in the game. Yeah. All right. Awesome.
So that the final question I've got off this list, I think we touched on this a little bit earlier, is what do you think of the AAA gaming industry right now?
I'm a bit worried about it because, like, you've got these big companies, and obviously where they're all merging into one super conglomerate. Then this could be the beginning of the
the world as we know it.
But because what will happen is they will, as we said before, they will listen to their very noisy pay structure who give them all their money, and they will go, oh, right, what we need is more FPSs, and they will just release the same game again and again and again. But I think there's also there is a really good opportunity here, is that people will then turn around and they will go, well, okay, well, what else is out there? And games like Bigfoot, Stardew Valley, like some of the Nintendo games that you don't really sort of see side or head off, and the old games will get remastered from sort of like a different company. And I think you might just see a sunrise of the indie games, which will really make these people turn around and say, well, hang on a sec, what's this? Why are these people playing this game when they could be playing Call of Duty 24?
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
As it's sort of like, I think it's a horrendous thing, and how the hell they got this past, any sort of, fair trade thing, I don't know. But the only way they could have done it is that they sort of said, well, yes, we will let Sony have some stuff, and look, we will tidy up their sexist, toxic workplace by giving these people high-powered jobs somewhere else. I think it's going to make people go out and look at the independents, and that can only be a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's going to probably make, like you said, make fans and gamers realize, oh, the AAA industry isn't as good as it seems to be.
Exactly.
So that's going to support some, passionate indie game developers who actually probably like making their games, like making something unique and different. And I think it's good and bad in a way. Sorry, I'm kind of taking over, but
no, please do. I've been trying to think of an example, but I know in the past when some of the big game companies, what they've done is they've sold off their franchises to smaller game companies, and I can't think of an example, but like the independent thing grabbed that game franchise and then ran with it and made it their own.
EA, Dead Space. They sold off Dead Space. Visceral Visions, who made them. They basically said, "Well, like it goes back to what I said earlier. We're not going to make any single player games anymore," and they didn't see any value in it, and expanded it, and then they absorbed it into their infrastructure. And then 9 years later, we're making Dead Space again. So, what do you want to make? You shouldn't have got rid of them in the first place. I mean, the first and second games were a testament to horror in itself. Third game was an EA try and milk everybody, and that's when everyone went, no. It's the problem with I didn't really touch on this in our little chat we had about it last week. But now I've come to realise the problem I have with Microsoft buying up Blizzard and Activision is that now that gives them too much power. Well, with the indie development side now starting to boom, indie developers being more passionate than the AAA industry, they're getting more notice because they're making better quality games. You know, bigger influencers are now picking up more indie titles, playing more indie titles, sort of ignoring the AAA side a little bit. Saw a lot of YouTube videos all saying the same thing. We're not supporting the AAA industry anymore. We're going to play this other made by the indie developers because we're having more fun. What's going to happen is that Sony, Microsoft, and whoever else has got big wallets, Epic, and then they've already started doing this as they're buying up the indie development team. They're throwing a ridiculous amount of money at them. These small development teams are 30, 40 people. Not earning a lot of money. This passion project for them. Really scraping the barrel to get by in some of the cases, and then someone rolls up with £500,000 and goes, "I'll buy this game off you. I just finished making it. Here's £500,000, and you'll get 5% of the royalties when we sell it on our platform." They're going to be like, "Yeah, all right." And then that's what's going to happen. It's going to be the same thing as what Activision did to Blizzard. Is they're just going to roll in, buy it all up, sell off all the assets, buy it and keep it as a minimalistic team, and then we end up going around in circles, just like someone in my chapter said. You're going to go around in roundabouts. Something needs to be put in place to protect the little guys. I don't think it's fair that these big conglomerates come along and go, "Here's my infinite billions. I'm just going to buy everything and everything else and all the indie titles under the sun. And you're going to make what we say, release when we say, and you're not going to impede on our AAA industry because we want to milk everyone dry." That's what I'm worried about, and that is a very big risk of what's happening with Microsoft.
An industry which this has already happened in wrestling. You've got the WWE, and another company, AEW, and they went up and they bought everything. WWE just bought everything, every wrestling company on the planet. And they're now in serious trouble because people aren't watching them. They're watching the little independent shows. Like in America, there are all these company things like ICW, which is a British one. But these little independents organisations are the ones that are getting the viewers, and they're getting like local TV stations over there are picking them up because they can pick this independent up for a few £1,000 a week, or they can pay WWE £100,000 a week. Well, it's a no-brainer, and slowly the big ones are being kicked out. They're seeing their market share plummet. So that could happen. Is that where these people are just too big, people are just going to go, "Well, I don't want to know." And that's where formats like Twitch is going to be at the head of that. Is because this is going to be where the independents are going to get their free advertising and everything.
True.
Yeah,
it's a worrying time to be honest. With all this, with also so many billions knocking around. I mean, Epic Games are throwing around hundreds of billions, trying to exclusive everything, exclusive PCs like that annoys the heck out of me. Exclusive in PC titles. I'm not a big fan of the Epic browser app anyway, because of the fact it just hasn't. The amount of money they have, that app is very lazily made. I could code better. I'm not saying that to be I can actually code it if I really wanted to, and I could make at least a chat interface for crying out loud. Talk to your friends on there. It's so lackluster, but that's going off topic. But they have all the money in the world, resources in the world to not I won't say buy out Steam, but they literally are trying to, and they have been trying to for quite some time. On one side, they're giving away all these games for everybody to enjoy, but on the flip side is that they're buying up so many little independent titles and exclusive games that should be available to all PC players, not the ones that just sell their soul to Epic. Because if you actually read through their terms and conditions, it's actually quite frightening what you agree to share with them. And that's a topic for another day. I would urge everyone to read through their updated terms and conditions, and see if that is something you agree with. Because there's some stuff in there that I'm just like, really. But that's where they're getting you. Because time is valuable. A lot of the stuff you agree to now. Does anyone read their terms and conditions anymore? I mean, does anyone the big, massive, 50-page long bloody Bible essay of?
They should bullet point it.
It should just have like a few key points.
Bullet points.
By agreeing to this, we own everything you do. and that's it. That's basically what it says. But it's so much legal jargon that you just go, what the f are you talking about? Whatever.
Yeah.
you know.
They probably have
uh,
to do that, but
do,
it's too much to read, I
do
guess.
you remember a few years ago a game trolled a lot of people and they said if you agree to this terms and conditions, we now own your house and your soul. They
I
wrote
heard
it in
about
there.
that.
Did you
I
ever
heard
read
that.
about that? Yeah, that was they
Yeah.
did it as a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
imagine that if people took that seriously.
I know,
And
right?
they started putting stuff like that in there, and you literally legally had to honour it. Like you had to
Yeah.
give them your house and stuff, and they were
That'd be
insistent. Like,
crazy.
that would be wrong. So they wouldn't get away with it. I mean, the outcry would be horrendous. But it's still the fact that God knows what you're agreeing to, and this is a completely separate subject, and I'm not going to talk too much about it. But I would urge everyone to read their updated metaverse terms and conditions as well for use
Okay.
Facebook. 100%.
I don't.
I
No, I
wouldn't use
don't.
I,
No.
I wouldn't use it. That's just my personal preference, but I wouldn't use it.
Yeah.
Put it this way: anything you post on there, they can legally claim as their own. All your photos, all your videos, all your personal information, they can do with it whatever they want if you use that
Yeah.
web service. And that's just some little bit of advice there to everyone that uses metaverse. If you're not bothered by it, fine, whatever. It's not don't let me tell you what to do with your own information and data. But if you want to protect yourself, because they sell it to about, I think it's last time I checked, is about 400 independent companies they send you information to.
Yeah.
So that's thereabouts, and that's with all their contacts within emails, and that's why you get random emails from people that you never heard of in your inbox. Like, who the heck are these people? Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's completely different to what we was talking about. But it's just that the fact that there's so much money involved and everything, and going back to what you originally agreed to and this is what's going to lead into what I'm going to talk about now is what EA are doing with the current Battlefield. There is a reason why I'm talking about it, right? We're going into the main point.
Segway.
Yeah, the main point which I want to talk about is EA and their shenanigans they're pulling with Battlefield 2042 at the moment. And if you've been perusing the Battlefield 42 forums since November, I come across this earlier. I've mentioned it to my fellow co-host here. Is that what's been happening is people have been refunding Battlefield 2042, and EA have been turning around saying, no, we're not refunding it. We don't do refunds. We're not honouring the refund. You have no reason to refund our game. It's perfectly fine. Yada yada. Talking smoke up. Absolute talking nonsense. And because their refusal to refund, and everyone has an entitled to a refund if the product's inferior or doesn't work properly. It's a legal right, no matter where you are on the planet. If you're sold a product and the product doesn't work, and it's not fit for purpose, and it's not as advertised or as intended it is, you are legally entitled to your money back, no matter what the company says. What they've done is they point blank refuse refunds for these people, and what the people have then gone and done is get a refund issued from your bank, which you can do. This is turned into a financial advisor podcast, isn't it? Really, you can legally get a refund from your bank, request the money from your bank, and say this is fraud. This is not right. You give a reason, any reason you want to your bank. The bank go, yeah, okay, we agree. Boop, and they'll forcibly get the money back from them. Now, what's happening on the bounce back of this is that EA then turn around saying, well, we didn't authorise that refund. We didn't want to give you the money back. So we're going to take away your account. We're going to ban your account. We're going to lock your account. We're going to say goodbye to you and your entire library of games that you've paid for free subscription service games. So stuff that they've bought long before, like they brought in the like you have to be online sort of thing to own the game. So that these people are being locked out of thousands of pounds worth of games and then just be completely just not allowed to have it back, which I think is absolutely preposterous. I mean,
It's ridiculous.
How can they get away with that? You know what I mean? What?
Yeah.
Why would the EA of all considering how much hot water they have been in the past and how much trouble they're in with 2042 at the moment? Why would they do that? Do you guys think that's an absolute stupid thing to do with me? Or am I in the minority here?
And to
It's
just
dumb, isn't it?
yeah, it's very dumb. And just to say, there is a comment underneath that says, every company bans for a dispute with PayPal or chargeback. I don't know if that's true or not. It might be. But I agree that if you buy, because a lot of people have a problem with if you bought a game individually in the past and not used EA Play, you still own the right to have that game because you paid for it, right? But because EA Play is like this whole thing, it's just if you own a game and you subscribe and you do that and you get your account closed, you don't have access to that game anymore. And I think that's just very silly. It's stupid.
Effectively, a game on those things has become an NFT. You can buy it, you don't own it.
Yeah.
Exactly. I hit
But
right on
there
there.
is the other way of looking at this is that the EA server is their shop. Any shop has the right to refuse access to their premises. So if the server is their premises, they can, for no reason, they can refuse any visitor, anyone turning up, any shopper access to their shop.
Yeah.
So there is that side of it. Is I don't agree with it. I think it's absolute bullcrap. But they have the right to refuse sale to anyone and refuse access to anyone.
Yeah.
And they don't have to give a reason for that.
No, that is actually in their terms and conditions. Actually, if you read it, they can withdraw. They can withdraw rights to anything for any reason at any time, as their leisure, despite what your legal standpoint is. It's a sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
It's a very worrying situation. If EA continues to get away with this, and it comes to a point where you're not allowed refunds. Just because if you bought a product, like I said earlier, you bought a product, it's your legal right to have a refund. And then does that right become invalid because you've agreed to terms and conditions that forego your right for any reason on your account because you're agreeing to use this service that they have all access to, all your information, and then they can just go nope. And that is quite worrying when you're exchanging a lot of money, and like you say, just basically paying for something you don't own, which is the problem with digital goods in the first place.
That is the problem. Yeah.
It's a very grey area and a very difficult thing to navigate. Who owns this? It's if you exchange money for a product, usually that means you own the product, right? Especially if you've given your information and details and all that. And like that's what I was saying, going back to the terms and conditions earlier, is this relevant? They can change their terms and conditions at any point without even letting you know. They don't even have to tell you they've changed anything. So it's quite worrying in the sense that if they're doing this now, what else are they going to start doing in the future just because they don't like it?
Does it come down to who has the intellectual property on it, or something like that?
Would it come down to the developers then having the say rather than because a lot of EA Play aside, a lot of things that you rent through are actually either owned by Microsoft or third party, especially if you're playing on like various passes on PC. There's Ubisoft, there's Nitro on Discord. There's others you can play for. Obviously, you could probably include Twitch Prime in that one because that's still a paid service that gives you games.
Also, it's not it's necessarily a paid service, but in a way, but Epic give out a lot of free games. But if they decide to stop that, you lose all those games. Like you don't actually own them.
Revoke your access to the server,
Which is
something that just occurred to me is you can get EA Play as part of your Xbox Ultimate package. Who then has control over that? Because you're buying it via Xbox Ultimate. It's part of the package you pay for. Thereby, you're paying for that whole thing. So EA then can't take that away from you because it's part. They would have to go to Xbox or Microsoft, and then also and Bethesda as well, included in that. And say, well, we don't want this person on this part of the package, and they would have to change your package then.
Yeah,
that's a good point. I didn't think about that, but that's a very good point.
Someone in my chat just pointed out that EA has the rights to withdraw their service via Xbox at any time.
Oh, right.
So, EA are, without a doubt, the shadiest, most corrupt pieces of work in the gaming industry as well.
Oh,
Up there
gotcha.
with especially up there with Activision in terms of scumbags. Yeah, I'm actually considering not supporting them now. So after reading all this,
Yeah.
it's terrible. I mean, as a consumer, and all of our rights and all of our legality means absolutely bugger all in the face of digital services and these companies.
Yeah.
So surely there has to be new laws and legislation brought in to protect us, because when money is exchanged hands, I mean, money isn't worthless. I mean, everyone earns their money, hard earned cash. It's not, the fool and his money are easily parted, but a company taking the mickey out of you, I mean, that's just not on. But they're saying that most governments are corrupt themselves. So,
Yeah.
allegedly, sorry, let me rephrase that, allegedly corrupt. So I don't get myself assassinated or something. Next week, 3D show goes missing. It's the case of the little man versus the giants, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
But this then heads back to the supporting the indie developers and going back to the smaller guys. But leading on from what EA the shady stuff EA are doing, I wanted to talk about Battlefield, as I mentioned earlier. 2042 has lost 90% of its player base because that said what I said was mentioned was about this, some of the issues of the refunds, but not just that, the state of the game and EA's flat bank denial that the game is fine, it just works. You're supposed to fall through the floor and the ceiling, and your bullets are not supposed to hit anything, and hovercraft are supposed to fly through the air and land on buildings, and tanks are supposed to spawn on top of your head when you jump into the map. But the buildings aren't supposed to blow up, or everything's supposed to be invincible, and you're supposed to disconnect and lose all your progress. That's exactly how we intend you to play the game. Fuck off.
Wow.
Come on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but come on. It's absolute, sorry, my French kind of got a bit excited.
I played that, and when it first came out, and my son, I bought it for my son, so we got the accounts linked, so I got to play it. And I was in the one where you're in the like with all the skyscrapers in the sand and everything. It took me 30 minutes, and that's an underestimation, not an overestimation, to realise I had clipped through the floor and I was not actually in the game map to work it out. Where I was sitting there thinking, no one can see me. I can't see anyone to snipe them. I can see them all walking around, but I managed to get a bead on them. And I was lying flat, and then I suddenly twigged, hang on a sec, I'm not actually on this map. I'm under the floor somewhere. That's how rubbish it is.
That's terrible. The fact that they couldn't even realise.
Yeah, I couldn't see.
Wow.
I could not tell the difference because it was just lots of sages of grey and beige.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Triple A live servers, everyone.
Yeah, exactly. and a few months later, it's still no different.
Yeah, it's not.
They might have patched a few of the millions of bugs they've got. There are not enough swear words in my vocabulary to describe how I feel about this game.
I was excited for it as well. Like everyone was super hyped and like, yes, something different, something cool.
I think you remember. Sorry, Beth. You remember a few podcasts ago, I said about the beta being absolute trash and people were fed up with it, and I played it, and I said it's not going to be any different. I said if you're expecting this game to be any different in a month's time when it's going to release, you're in for a rude awakening. Oh look, I was right. It shipped in the same state the beta launched in, even worse in some cases because they didn't factor into account the whole range of PCs that play on these. That's a whole other kettle of worms. But the fact that it just wasn't running on P, and then it ran even worse on console. You think they'd learn from watching Cyberpunk self-destruct, but these AAA companies, they're so arrogant. And the mentality is release it now, fix it later. And back in the day, when we didn't have the age of internet 400 gigabyte downloads to fix the game, where the games used to ship more or less working. You put your disc in or your cartridge, and you play it, and it'd work. You wouldn't have any broken experience. You'd have the full experience. And it might be when the internet started booming, we had got the odd minor patch for stuff.
It's almost like they do it on purpose, just to see what players say, and then now we'll fix it.
Yeah, they have
disappoint
teams
everyone.
and teams of people to play test this. People would play test it for free. There's hundreds of thousands of gamers out there that would play test this stuff for nothing. You know, and
They got lazy. Everyone, the game industry has got lazy, and they can't.
Yeah.
Like
Triple A industry.
put too much pressure on the developers.
Yeah.
And they don't have enough time to do stuff because they want the game
they
out.
have the time. They have the time. They just mismanage it completely. Too busy lording it up in their staff rooms, drinking champers and swearing and abusing all their staff members to meet stupid deadlines when they don't need to be met. And and there's no rush. What are you rushing for? Make the game, release it when it's ready. It's not like we haven't got hundreds of thousands of other games to keep ourselves amused with in the meantime. It's this whole fake illusion of we have to release it as soon as possible. Why do you? Who you the competition? You end up on all the platforms anyway, so who exactly are you rushing against?
And
I don't get it.
I think sadly, because of the pandemic as well, put games back, there's even more demand to put those games out quicker, and that is going to put even more pressure on the staff behind making these big games. Unfortunately that's happened, but I don't think companies realise they don't care about their staff or even their player base anymore. It's all about cash grabbing as quickly as they can, and that's
release it as soon as possible. Hype up beyond all expectations. Release fake trailers, fake gameplay loops, fake interviews. Pay actors to pretend to like the game. Pay streamers to pretend to like the game and their preview builds. And it's this whole. It just stinks from top to bottom of a big steaming pile of turd.
They go one of two ways. I mean, and this one of the reasons I actually hate EA, and I'll go back into that in a second, if you want me to, is that they'll either can it and they'll just kill it dead, no matter what, and just sort of say, right, that's dead, it's gone, or they will just flog the dead horse and just keep it going with their heads firmly in the sand, going, no, there's nothing wrong, and people will carry on buying it, and these big streamers will carry on playing it, and it'll carry on looking like it's actually doing quite well. When actually, there's they're not playing with anyone; they're playing against bots a lot of the time. But they'll keep forcing it down your throat, and then the only time they'll actually stop is when they're getting ready to release the next one.
Yeah.
But when they canned it, I mean, going a bit controversial here. One game I really like, I'm playing at the moment. Andromeda.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know there was nothing a patch couldn't have fixed on this game.
Yeah.
But they killed it. They had a DLC ready to go. The Quarian DLC was ready to go. It could have been released. They could have saved this game, but people were, up in arms about it because it wasn't Mass Effect. I agree with that. It wasn't Mass Effect. If they'd called it just Andromeda, like Dark Space, Dead Space 3, if they just called that thing in space, Eat Your Face, it would have been a much better received game.
Oh, that's such a better title.
Yeah, I should be doing this.
I know, right?
But so just call it Andromeda. Release a patch like you did for Mass Effect 3 that fix the visual issues, whether it fixed the actual gameplay, which I was not there.
Sorry, my face is tired.
Yeah, but they could have fixed it. Whereas this thing, they'll dribble out little Battlefield. They'll dribble out little DLCs and little patches and little fixes that don't really do anything, but give the illusion that they're doing something.
Yeah.
And most of the time, it's behind a paid wall, which means it's in the game anyway.
Get off of it now, so there you go.
Yeah, but the one thing that you will notice in every EA-driven nonsense is that the store always works fine. The monetization store works absolutely fine. No problems there. No crashes, no bugs, no issues, and we can sell you this blue skin for £100. And it's a limited time offer. Get 50% off. Supposed to be 150 quid or whatever it is. Some nonsense price they come up with. Put a little timer on it, and people go, "Oh, that's a bargain! Oh my god, I own everything." Hence, the whales spend all their money, and they don't spend all their money because they're still funding this crap. It's loops and roundabouts where you have a game that deserves to be sorted out, Andromeda deserved its DLC. There was a fan base for it. They made the mistake of saying it was Mass Effect. They should have said it's based in the Mass Effect universe.
Yeah.
And that would have been it. People would have shut up about it. But because they're like, it's Mass Effect, it carries on. You know, it's a subplot story to the from the main storyline, but it wasn't. And then they had all the means effects of all the faces and bad
That's so funny.
glitches
So
and. The actual core gameplay is actually quite good.
Fantastic. It's really good.
Combat-wise, it's the best Mass Effect. Combat-wise, what? And this is turning into a little bit of an Andromeda review, but what I found the most annoying thing as a hardcore Mass Effect gamer was I didn't like the backwards and forwards repetition on the planet. I got annoyed with that in Mass Effect 1 and 2. You had to go planets scanning and had to. You remember the grind to get all the resources to get the upgrades for the ship. That's what it reminded me of when you had to do the world missions. You had to go to this location, and A to B to C. The mission design could have been a little bit better, but it wasn't it wasn't as bad as people said it was. Bugs aside, animations aside, there was a really good game and a good opportunity to expand the Mass Effect universe, and they squandered it because of a few loud vocal minority people that said it's crap. And I was like, oh, okay, well, can it then? Never mind that the majority of fans still enjoyed it. It was above average game. It wasn't the worst game ever. It's no Battlefield 2042.
It's like they gave up. Just gave up.
They just couldn't bothered. BioWare just couldn't bothered. They didn't get the support and they gave up. And
it's not getting us money, so that's just
yeah. And they also got in trouble. They wanted to monopolize multiplayer as well. They tried to put a lot of people off.
But the multiplayer fell flat on its arse.
Yeah.
But strangely, the multiplayer on Mass Effect 3 is still going.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's still got a lot of people who play it.
Yeah, still people buying them microtransactions. Wales.
And it was the one thing they took out of the Legendary Edition.
Mm-hmm.
And so people are buying actually going out and buying the original Mass Effect 3 disc for multiplayer if they haven't already got it. So
yeah. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here? Like, what is the path ahead for us gamers in this minefield of controversy, stupid decisions, dumb, greedy companies that just gone past the point where they don't care about the gamer itself or the consumer, just how much money they can get out of you, as and when they can rush through every game under the sun. And it's in this day and age, I think a lot of it falls on to us as the gamers, as the consumers, as the people in general, to wise up to these things and these inane practices that these companies are doing. And if we let stuff like what they're doing with the refunds and the account banning become the norm, then there is no point in owning any digital product.
No.
Because if you can have the rug pulled out from under you at any time, then what is the point in buying for any of it? There has to be a point where we've got to say, look, enough's enough. You're taking the mickey. We need to sit down and sort this out. Companies got to be held into account for their shady shenanigans. They've got to be held to rights. They can't. There has to be consumer laws out there somewhere that can protect us from this. And if there isn't one, then someone needs to get on that and make it so we have a leg to stand on to fight against these corporations that just don't give a monkeys anymore. And my point is, if they don't give a monkeys,
why should we?
Why should we? And we should just let them burn and not support them anymore and go in favour of the indie developers. I think that's been the theme of tonight's podcast: is support the indie developers.
Support indie, yeah.
I think there's
indie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There's only one way forward for this, for social games and like on the Twitch platform, and that is to start the I Spy channel. I Spy with my little eye, something beginning with F. That is where we're going. It's going to be going back to, joking aside, it's going to be going back to old school games. People are going to be whipping out their Mega Drives, their PS1s, PS2s, PS3s, and playing those games.
No wonder a lot of people are downloading emulators now. They just want to play old school.
A lot of gamers are fed up with all this stuff, and they just want to enjoy games again. And what better way to enjoy games than the PS3, PS2, PS1 era? You know, there's thousands of games out there that haven't even been touched for a long time. That are a golden age. It's getting to the point now. If you've got to go backwards that far to start enjoying gaming again, like from the Triple A perspective, then there's something majorly wrong.
Yeah,
and that needs to be sorted out as soon as possible.
I think it's the future, though, and I think it's I think we're going to see a lot more of it. I mean, you look at Twitch, and you've got channels now of just chatting. I mean, you've got some really stupid ones on there, like just sleeping, but just chatting and things like that. I mean,
Sorry,
for God's sake, it's
a little private joke there for us. I don't actually. Amaranth's, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, keep doing what you're doing in your hot tub streams. It's perfectly fine. You know, it's not my cup of tea.
No.
Demi's going to get my bucket.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, it's another stream idea, Beth. I have to say.
You know, I'm going to write that down.
do you know what's actually funny is if you get a hot tub and just fill it with pizzas.
There you go. There we go.
Right.
Just taking notes of those. All right. Well, that was a good. I mean, what else do we want to cover? Is there anything else that we're going to do?
Any final saves
thoughts?
or touches?
Yeah.
I just want to say for the first 10 minutes, I was Werejellyogre on this, which I just want to say is the name of my punk band.
Oh, yeah. Go listen to some of your music.
So thank you for changing that, because my mum will be listening to this at some point, and you know that would have been hard to explain.
Hello, Jelly's mum.
Hello. Well, thank you, Jelly, for coming on. We appreciate you.
Yes. I hope we have you on a bit more often.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Too much. No, it's been I've really enjoyed it, I have to say, and I feel that I may have had an get out of jail free card there. So I'm off. Bye.
Hey, no, you stay.
No,
you're not allowed to see your family yet.
Sorry.
You didn't read the terms and conditions properly.
Yeah, we own you.
We never. Please tell me there's a thing in there which says you owe my wife.
We never told you about the paid war.
Your wife is now DLC. But if you could release a skin pack, that would be great.
Oh my god.
Oh, brilliant. Right.
Oh.
I think so. I think we are pretty much going to wrap up for this week then. Beth, do you have a joke for the week?
I thought Jelly was going to do it, or should that do it? Should we both?
Pass it to Jelly.
But let's pass it to Jelly. Jelly, do you have a joke for the week?
Oh, are you sure about this?
Yes, it's fine.
Yes, it's
fine.
We're all grown ups.
Mickey Mouse is in court.
Oh,
so Mickey Mouse in court, and the judge looks over and goes, Mickey, look, I really don't realise and understand, why are you divorcing Minnie Mouse for having buck teeth? And Mickey looks at the judge and goes, I think you've got the wrong idea, and I said she's fucking goofy.
But on that bombshell.
I need to write down something.
That was my cleanest joke.
That was. All right. Thank you. Let's just say once again to Jelly, thank you so much for joining us this week on the
it's my pleasure. I really
podcast.
Enjoyed
It was great fun having you on, and great topics were had throughout. Just want to say, if anyone's got any socials they want to drop, what you're doing, are you streaming? Are you going to be jump scaring us at any time?
That's Jelly's job.
Yeah,
that's actually Jelly's job.
Beth?
I'm
Beth.
going to be streaming on Monday. I'm going to be playing Not For Broadcast.
Yes.
Oh yes, I remember to pop by for that one.
So yeah, that's on Monday. Follow me at Twitch TV/PizzaBeth. Thank you.
and
Follow me.
follow you at twitch.tv.
Subscribe.
Yeah, do all that good stuff. And Freddie, are you going to be streaming?
Yeah. I'm as usual. I stream 3 times a week. Obviously, podcast Saturdays at 9 p.m. But you'll find me at twitch.tv/Freddie Show. I'm going to be carrying on playing God of Boy on Tuesday. Thursdays, I've got a new series running now. I'm going to be playing Dokkan Battle every Thursday for my Dokkan Battle followers and crew. With hints and tips, and I'm going to be doing some events and stuff to help people clear that game and content, because I've played it for a long time, so I figured I might as well feature it on my channel. And I might stream on Friday next week as well, some calamity stuff that we might do. But yeah, so I would love to have you over there, and also please check out my YouTube channel, where my Bigfoot series is currently trending on my channel, and I would appreciate you to come along and give me a comment and a like and tell me how funny I am.
It is very good. It is very good. I'm in it. It's very good.
Me too. I'm in it a little bit too.
We're all in it.
We're all famous. What? No, we're not.
And I obviously, if you're not already watching the channel, why not? Twitch.tv/funnybitsboy. I will be streaming again. If there's time, I might do something tonight. Probably not. I don't know. See how much time I've got. But tomorrow I'll be back playing some game or other. I'm not sure yet. Some game. I'll be streaming again tomorrow. And as always, we'll be back again next Saturday for the Bits and Pieces podcast. And hopefully you can join us then. Don't forget, we are available on iTunes, Spotify,
Tinder.
Tinder. OnlyFans. We're available everywhere at the moment. Yeah, anywhere that you can find a podcast.
I didn't agree to this.
Anywhere that you can find.
You'll find if you check your terms and conditions.
Oh,
but changed again. Yeah, we didn't tell you about that. But the podcast is available out there somewhere. Please, like, it is very important. I'm try to get this out there as much as I can. I'm trying to put this out as much as I can. Downloading this podcast wherever you are. If you want to listen to it on the move, just download it. Leave a comment. Leave some likes. Give us some 5 stars. It does make a big difference to us that we get out there as a podcast group. And if there's any other podcasters out there that want to share it and come along and say hi, or just drop by,
get involved.
Get involved.
Give us a message.
Yeah, just let us know. And if you want to follow Jelly, he set the benchmark now, so you've got to bring your A game now, people. Yeah. If you want to follow Jelly as a guest on the Bits and Pieces podcast, message any one of us, either me, Freddie, Beth, over on our Twitters, or even whisper us in the Twitch. There's a whisper button somewhere in Twitch. You can do that. Or if you've got another way to get hold of us, Instagrams are out there as well. We're all on Instagram, I think. But yeah,
I'm on everything.
Everything. Yeah.
I don't know if I am.
Beth doesn't even know if she is or not. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. It's been a great one this week. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Jelly. Thank you.
Yay.
You've made an old man very proud.
And if so just that's it. That's the end. And we'll see you again on next time on the Bits and Pieces.
Go away, everyone. I'm joking. Sorry. Please
I'm gonna end the stream now. But if there's any gaming to be streamed, I probably might reset the stream. I don't know. But I'm just gonna end the stream just for the sake of the podcast. But I'll see you again either tomorrow or on the podcast next time. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Bye.
Well, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed that. That was good fun.
Thanks for coming on. It was fun. You're right.